I got an email from TenPoint Crossbows. You probably did too, if you're subscribed to their promotionals and all that good stuff. But it's that time of year. They're kicking off the new crossbow season, and Death by Bunjie is going to do what we did in the past. We're going to look at new offerings, go through them, look at the up-to-date information. This crossbow is not out yet. It's not out until January. But nonetheless, this email gives us a whole bunch of information that was sent to me from noreply@tenpointcrossbows.com. We can look at this email, maybe learn a little bit about this crossbow. I haven't gone through it yet, really don't know an awful lot about it. Got the old laptop here. We're going to go through it and see what we find out. We'll be doing this with all the new offerings from the various companies. It's pretty exciting. I love this time of year. I'm very excited about it. Not looking to upgrade like I was in the past. Or am I? Maybe, maybe not. You never know. Eventually, I'm not in the position I was before. When I was doing videos like this back in 2015 or something, I'd be like, no, I'm not going to upgrade the crossbow. But times change. I've upgraded to the Deathstalker 420. I love that crossbow, even though they've got newer models from that company. I really love it. And I see the value of new technology versus the old, outdated Bunjie that I love. My sentimental attachment to that crossbow is unparalleled. But I still appreciate new technology and stuff that moves crossbow hunting forward. We're going to see if any of this does that. Meet the new 2023 Flatline 460. Ooh, neat little name there, Flatline 460s. Well, I'm guessing that the draw weight on this crossbow is 460 pounds. 460 has to stand for something, right? I know it stands for 460 feet per second. We're going to find out more about that. Hopefully, they'll give us some more information. A lot of these manufacturers these days don't like to give us information. Hopefully, the draw weight is nowhere near 460 pounds, but you never know. Flatline implies that because it shoots 460 feet per second, it shoots pretty flat. That's pretty exciting. I love that. First thing we see is a giant buck, and then we see the 10-point crossbow. So we know where our priorities are, right? First and foremost, the big bucks. But then we get the 10-point Flatline 460. Very nice logo, good looking crossbow, looks like all the other 10 points. What makes this one special other than the fact that it shoots 460 feet per second? Designed for the hardcore hunter who wants a micro footprint to maximize shooting opportunities, but isn't willing to sacrifice speed or accuracy, the Flatline 460 measures just 26.5 inches long, wow, and shoots a blistering 460 feet per second. This is a more compact model, apparently designed for public land hunters and the guys that hike in a mile or two every time they go hunting. They want something compact, right? So, or maybe smaller people want something more compact. 26.5 inches long. That is pretty short, right? I don't even know why they use the word long. 26.5 inches short is what this thing is. Think about that. Genevieve's crossbow, the micro suppressor 355 from Excalibur, they don't make that model anymore. Great crossbow. She loves it to death. But that thing is 25 inches wide. This is only a little bit longer than hers is wide. This is a pretty small crossbow, shooting 460 feet per second. Wow. Equipped with new scope struts. Wow. That provide rock-solid mounting for the scope. It delivers unrivaled durability and long-range accuracy. Interesting. Good point here, right? Smaller crossbow, a lot less mass to absorb all the vibration, regardless of what the draw weight is. And my money is on we're not going to find out because they just don't tell you that stuff anymore. Like they're trying to get away from that. To me, draw weight's important. Done a series of videos on that topic. I can tell you these small crossbows, a lot less mass. A lot less mass to the crossbow. Big old Bunjie there, the OB, that crossbow, giant, 36 inches wide, right? Not 26 inches long. It's 36 inches wide and 40 inches long almost. It's a giant crossbow, a lot of mass to absorb vibration. These smaller crossbows, as things get smaller, they present new issues. And this is definitely presenting issues where they thought we have to beef up that scope rail. I can tell you just Genevieve's crossbow, I filmed it once in slow motion. I was astonished. Watch that scope vibrate. The entire scope tube is vibrating. The scope tube is flexing every time she shoots that crossbow. How long can that last? Yeah, that's going to work things loose on the crossbow. And then if it works your scope rail loose, then all of a sudden you got problems with that. You won't be able to hold accuracy at all. The scope struts that provide rock solid mounting for the scope. The first question I get is, was there a problem with that in previous models, or is it this model that requires a beefed up scope mount, right? And I've talked to a few people about this without knowing too much about this crossbow. I have talked to people about that topic. By putting this new design on these crossbows, is it an admission that other models of TenPoints have an issue here that they haven't addressed? Like, should these have been on the 505? Is that a crossbow that really should have this as part of the design, and they're only now realizing that it was put out to market without that? That's a good question, right? We're going to find out in this series of videos, so make sure you subscribe. We're going to keep looking at these models and keep talking about these questions. The second thing that I see when I see these scope strut mounts is, can I put this on an older 10-point crossbow? Can I take the screws out, put this in place, put new screws in, buy the hardware, put this on? If I already owned a 505 and the new ones have it and I don't have it, I'd be kind of upset by that. I would want the opportunity to add that to my crossbow. I'm just throwing things out here, right? This is what we're talking about. If you have information on it, put it in the comments. Oh yeah, we're going to find out, aren't we? Let's scroll down a little bit here. Carry less, shoot flatter, hit harder. Okay, that's all great. New Flatline 460. The fastest compact crossbow ever. That's probably accurate, right? Because it's the Flatline 460. It's a small crossbow. It isn't one of the smaller crossbows on the market, and 460 is pretty fast. That is a smoking fast crossbow. 7.5 inches width. Be mindful of these things. I'm going to say like I always do, but the width of 7.5 inches, I'm betting that's cocked. That might be axle to axle. Cocked width of a crossbow is irrelevant. I wrote about this in my book, The Death by Bunjie Crossbow Method. Cocked width does me no good. It doesn't do me any good to know that number. How wide is that crossbow after I pull the trigger? That's all I care about, because it's the uncocked width that's going to hit the side of my blind, that's going to hit the tree next to me, that's going to do damage to the crossbow or affect my accuracy. Uncocked width is all I care about. I know 7.5 looks better than 14.5, but probably the outside of the cams is probably like 12, 14 inches, right? Which is still ridiculously small, but that's the more important number, right? Even though it's not as attractive as 7.5 inches. So be mindful of that when you see these things. We scroll down, we got a video. Ooh, a video. I'll click on that. It's going to take me to YouTube. You can tell by the little icon. We're not going to click on that just yet. We're going to read the rest of this email first. Micro footprint to go further. Guy's carrying in his hang-on tree stand, looks like. That is a big tree stand he's carrying too. I like that. But he's dangling the crossbow off the back of it. I don't know, man. You got your $200 hang-on tree stand strapped over your back, and then you dangle the really expensive crossbow off the back of it. I don't know about that. I don't know if that's what I would do. Ultra compact for more shot coverage. This is the guy who's hunting in a cornfield, and he's able to shoot between the corn stalks. Smaller crossbow, able to maneuver a little bit better. New scope struts increase strength by 80% for more accuracy and durability. 80% is an awful lot, but it's still a good question, I think, as to why we need that, right? Is there that much going on with these crossbows? I suspect that 80% increase in durability. Wouldn't a 505 want that? I don't know. And then these struts that strap on the side of it. If you look at that, it kind of looks like an old erector set. Remember those? The toys you'd get, they give them to kids to, put little screws together, little nuts and bolts and all that stuff and screw it all together. And you had this looks like that. AccuSlide for safety cocking. I do like the AccuSlide cocking system. I think that's a good system. It's arguably the best one on the market. You can cock and decock with this one, apparently. That's great. I don't own a 10-point or anything like that, but I've shot some of them in shops and stuff like that, and cocking them has never been an issue. They're available with 100-yard Marksman Elite Scope or the Burris Oracle X rangefinding scope. Oh yeah! I don't know if you picked up on this here on Death by Bunjie, but I am a big fan of the Burris Oracle X rangefinding crossbow scope. We're looking at $2,600 with a speed scope, right? Or $3349.99 for the Oracle X. I already got 2 of the Burris Oracle X's. Those are expensive, right? Putting one of them on this crossbow, that would be awesome to me. If you can get the eye relief, you got a crossbow that's only 26.5 inches long, right? That scope is pretty long, and you want to make sure you got the eye relief, right? So with this beefed up rail, I wonder if there's enough room to really move that forward enough for a guy like me. I want it forward, and that's just where I end up, And then the other question is going to be the cheek rest. And it looks like these 2 pictures, if you look at them, one of them has a raised up cheek rest so that the comb is a little bit higher. And if you look at that on the Burris, because the Burris sits kind of high, so maybe TenPoint has thought of that. TenPoint, again, arguably the highest end crossbow there is, right? TenPoint is arguably the premier crossbow company. They charge the most, at least, right, for a lot of their models. They have a really, really good reputation. I would expect them to have thought of things like this, right, to put this together properly. Let's click on the video and see what we got, see what it does for us. We'll click on that, and it takes us to their website. Fantastic. This is their main landing page for that crossbow, and ooh, it pops up with a video right on top of it. And we got a guy shooting a crossbow out of a tree stand. He's strapped onto the tree really good. Good for him. Let's look at this and watch this video. Watch a little bit of this, not the whole thing. Watch a little bit of it and see what they think about it.
Hit harder. Meet the fastest compact crossbow ever, the Flatline 460.
Is that the same music they put in the Excalibur crossbow videos? Ooh! Did you see that? They actually said we're on the same page here. Maybe it's meant to be. I don't know. Maybe this is a sign. 26.5 inches short. That's funny because I was making that joke. That's funny. I hadn't seen this, and there it is. Boom. You know, that's pretty cool. Okay, so there's your struts. I'm not pausing it very good, but you get a close-up there of your struts. That's what your struts look like. That's fantastic. That's the erector set thing that I was telling you about. Man, there's a lot going on in here, too. There's like little switches and... Oh, your safety's up here toward where your trigger would be. That's good. I do like that. Got this knob, whatever that does. I don't know. Switches and buttons all over the place and things for your phone. And boy, you got all kinds of stuff going on in these new crossbows.
Designed with a micro footprint and low profile, measuring 26.5 inches short and 7.5 inches narrow, the Flatline 460 is built...
All right, it looks like they're doing the cocked width 7.5 inches narrow, which, again, I like the play on words here, narrow versus wide. Those symbols are on the axles. So it's axle to axle 7.5 when it is cocked, which again means nothing because the axles aren't going to hit the side of the blind. The axles are not going to hit the tree next to you. So who cares? It's not even relevant. The axle to axle width is only good for determining brace height, in my opinion, but that's me.
The Flatline 460 is built for the hardcore hunter who puts in 110%. The hunter who walks a little further, sits a little longer, and needs to make the most of that split-second opportunity when it presents itself.
There's our big buck again, very important.
460 feet per second. The Flatline 460 gives you the assurance that when the time comes, you have the speed and flat trajectory to get the job done.
I'm not going to watch the whole thing, although they're giving us a lot of good information, but I don't want to sit here and just regurgitate what they're already giving us. I want you to hear my commentary, right? That's why you clicked on this video. It's probably not why you clicked on this video, but it's what you get in this video. This series of videos is really just my commentary on what I find interesting about these different crossbows. So hop out of that video. Put a link in the description. Let's look at the Flatline 460, the fastest compact crossbow ever. Wow, they got a lot of good stuff on this website. We'll have to check it out. 100-yard EVOX Marksman Elite Scope. I don't care about that. Don't want it. Built for speeds up to 505 feet per second. That's great. I'm not a speed scope guy anymore. Look how fast technology changes. I started out my crossbow hunting career with a scope that didn't even have a speed ring, right? It just had fixed reticles. And they were kind of accurate. Then I upgraded to a speed ring because I started playing with broadhead weight and arrow weight and all that, and found one I really, really liked. And here I am now, I'm not even using a speed ring scope anymore. So just in the now 13 seasons I've been hunting with a crossbow, we've gone through my third generation of scopes. That's pretty cool. Reverse draw design generates more speed with less draw for a smoother shot and provides superior balance for increased accuracy. I am a fan of the reverse draw technology, right? The Scorpyd design, the Deathstalker 420, the slick black Cadillac Bunjie III, right, is a reverse draw design. In fact, very similar to this, it's reverse limb and reverse draw both. The riser is back toward you above your trigger hand. The cams are out in front. And out in front, the string actually is drawn back from the far side of the cams, just like this crossbow. That increases your draw length. So we'll see how long the draw length. On the Scorpyd, it's like 18 inches, the draw length is, right? So that gives the string, the value of that is that it gives the string 18 inches, a lot more time to impart energy from the limbs onto the arrow because it's got that string travel, a greater string travel. The string is in contact with the arrow longer, and that increases the amount of energy that it can impart upon that arrow. New Sentry Bow Hanger. Easily hang your bow in the stand to protect your broadhead from dirt and grit on the ground blind. That's this thing right here. I used to call that a stirrup. Now it's a bow hanger. Okay. Even with a crank, I like to have my foot on something, right? You need something to put your foot in to hold that crossbow steady. It's one of the things I didn't like about the Ravens. You put it on the ground, you start working the crank, and the thing's going all over the place, and, you know, whatever. You got to stick it in the mud in order to get it to stand still so you can crank it or something. AccuSlide cocking and decocking system. We could go on and on about that. That is a real serious thing. I'm going to click on that.
At TenPoint Crossbows, safety never takes a backseat to speed and accuracy. While other crossbows dangerously decock, 10-point crossbows do it safely with the AccuSlug.
Okay, that's just a video about that. I will say, some of the crossbows, their decocking is not safe, right? Like the original C2 crank from Excalibur, there were people using that to decock their crossbows. That's just not a good idea. That thing is not, like you let go of that thing and it's going to spin out of control and take your hand off. The S1 trigger, two-stage, I don't like two-stage triggers. Zero creep design with roller sear system that sets the standard in accuracy. All right, that's what you got. And then we got some more pictures of it. 188 foot-pounds of kinetic energy. Now, what we can do, I'm going to show you something pretty cool. I'm going to go to deathbybunjie.com, and on deathbybunjie.com, my website, you can go to calculators, and I don't have it all on here, and that's because I'm putting together an app to put all these calculators together. But if we go to the calculators page, and then there's a video here with me and old Grumpy Hunter that we put together where he basically did all the work and built these calculators. But you can click on there and it'll take you to the site where they are housed presently, which happens to be old Grumpy Hunter's site. You can check that out. But there's a cool little thing on here, and we get arrow weight used to get manufacturer's stated specs from the box. So we know that this is a stated FPS, feet per second, of 460 feet per second. They're telling us it's a 188 foot-pounds of kinetic energy. We're going to calculate the arrow weight. Boom, 400 grains. Wow. Wow, 10-point, thumbs up. That's awesome. They are using not a 350 grain arrow to get the 460. They're using a 400 grain arrow, right? That's your typical arrow with a 150 grain broadhead. I might be able to get away with that and still get 460 feet per second. That's awesome. I give them props for that. That's pretty cool. So if we're getting 188 foot-pounds of kinetic energy with a 400 grain arrow and we're still getting 460 feet per second, that's a great deal. That's pretty cool. That's a lot of energy. 0.816 slugs of momentum out of the box. You guys, you heavy arrow guys, you can go put 700 grain arrow on this thing and you're still shooting 400 feet per second or something, maybe, whatever. We can do the math. There's plenty of calculators for that too. But more importantly, in my opinion, you can buy this thing, use the arrows that came with it, and shoot 460 feet per second. You're getting all the feet per second that you paid for. And you're getting 188 foot-pounds of kinetic energy. And you're getting 0.816 slugs of momentum. Look at that. Look at that, right? That's the envy of the archery world. That's fantastic. That is fantastic. What a crossbow. 2649, and I think that's the one with the scope, that scope, right? So you could buy it, and maybe from like Wyvern Creations. We'll go on there real quick. Try to type it right or click on something. Thank you, Google. You're so awesome. We'll go to 10-point crossbows because I'm pretty sure they have just listed them. 10-point crossbows, made in the USA, a video of something. Let's see what we got for models. Oh, look at these. Oh, we're going to do this one next. We'll do that in the next video, maybe. We'll go right through here and look at these ones. Well, I'm not just going to wait for 10-point to send me an email. I mean, come on. I knew these were coming because they had like blank empty spaces set up for them. So here's your 460, the Flatline 460. We'll click on that. Wow, you got to buy it with a case. Check that out. They require you to take care of your crossbow. How cool is that? 10-point, man. Look at all these crossbows. Holy cow. They've been busy. And that's only page 1 of 2. We'll save that for a future video. One thing I don't see on here is what's the draw weight. We're told it's lower. It's less than what the draw weight used to be, right? I don't see that anywhere on here in the specs. Maybe Wyvern will share that information with us, but it's doubtful. We could probably calculate that on another one of our calculators. It's the 3rd fastest crossbow in the world, which is not true. That's not true. According to Wyvern, it's the 3rd fastest crossbow in the world. No, it's not. In fact, that would, by my calculations, be the 5th fastest crossbow in the world. There is the Raven R500, faster than this. The 10-point 505, faster than this. The Scorpyd Axiom comes with a 480 foot per second model. There's a Russian crossbow that's in that mix as well. I don't even know the name of it, but that's in the world. It's made by the same people that made those main hunter arrows. So that's number 4. This looks like the 5th fastest crossbow in the world, which is still pretty cool, okay? But it's the fastest compact one. Ooh, And they gave it to us. The power stroke is 13.5 inches. 13.5 inches is half the length of that crossbow. The draw weight is 300 pounds. We don't even have to use a calculator to see it. 16-inch arrows, which makes sense, a small crossbow like this. 16 is legal just about everywhere that crossbows are legal, so there you go. But if that's what it wants, that's what it gets. That's a quick look at the TenPoint Flatline 460 crossbow. Pretty neat. Until next time, all hail Bunjie.